What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today again, because you guys consistently keep hitting that like button and getting videos up to above 50 likes or more in the first 24 hours, you have unlocked the Fabled Raven Darkworld profile. Now obviously this is all about changing your normal summon to instigate synchro plays. It's really kind of cool. It does give the deck another different kind of angle, and it is very, very fun. I love the versatility of this deck and the competitive nature of all the different variants that they have. It all comes down to your local environment, and it also comes down to the type of tournament you like to play and your play style in general. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe. If you continue to do so, you will continue to unlock additional content. So the next one you will unlock is a full-on test hand combo video using Fabled Raven and everything else. With all of that out of the way, let's dive headfirst into this profile and show you exactly what we've got now utilising a small synchro package. So of course, your main normal summon of the deck and the only way to get into your synchros is of course triple Fabled Raven. So what this card does is once per turn you discard any number of cards, and if you do, this card gains 1 level and 400 attack for each discarded card until the end of this turn. Now the idea is, yes, the attack boost can be very, very nice, because if you were to ditch an entire hand of 4, that's a very nice buff on the attack. But the idea is that a combo simply between Fabled Raven and then any of the Darkworlds that summon themselves, ideally silver and gold, are your ideal targets, can instigate straight away a synchro play. So if you wanted to rock a beige, you could do, but that would instigate level 7 synchro plays, and in my opinion, the level 8s are a lot better than the level 7s. Now obviously you can discard as many cards as you want, so in theory, if you were to discard 3 cards off a Fabled Raven, including a silver or a gold, that gives you instant access to a level 10 synchro. Now let's just put this into context for you. If your opening hand had the ability of, let's say, a rainbow with a silver or a gold, alongside, if you're going aggressive, a Grapha, or of course ideally a Snow, heck, even a Ceruli, by activating Fabled Raven and then ditching a silver, a rainbow, and let's say a Snow, you will then be able to summon back silver, turn Fabled Raven into a 5, and then search off a rainbow, search off a Snow, instantly giving you access to Fabled Raven, syncing with a silver or a gold, and making a Baron de Fleur. So you've got an instant synchro level 10, and you've been able to get as multiple cards out of your hand in one go as possible. Not to mention, off the back of Snow, you could have gone for a Genta, you could have gone for a Ascension, and off of Rainbow, you could go for a Grapha. So you've got an instant fusion play with Baron de Fleur on top of it. Yes, it has cost you 3 cards in the hand, but keep in mind as well, 2 of those cards have replaced themselves, and you can go further from there. At the basement as well, Fabled Raven, the ideal targets you're going to be able to kind of trigger is you're going to be able to get into, like I said, a level 8 here is your ideal one, just by discarding 1 card. But then you also have access, should you discard a level 8 and then not, get a Darkworld to the board. So if you, for example, discarded these 2, this will give you access to a level 12 synchro. So if you wanted to play Mathmech Final Sigma as a bit of a towers, you can do as well. So it just kind of opens up different options and avenues for you. Obviously, like I said, the ideal synchro plays are coming from silver and gold because they're just summoning themselves from free, whereas everything else, you can't really conduct a normal summon. The only other way you can do it is through a Genta, using Genta's own effect, banishing it, summoning itself back. And that's when you can start unlocking rainbow plays, bouncing itself back. Just a normal summon of a Fabled Raven without even using this effect gives you a Baron de Fleur. And another very powerful synchro, which I'll explain when we get to it in the extra deck. So that's it for your Darkworld lineup. Now onto the Danger lineup, which of course, off the back of Fabled Raven, can trigger additional effects as well. So we play double Nessie, so Nessie plus Fabled Raven gives you, again, instant access to a level 10 synchro. Then of course, sorry, not an instant level 10 synchro, but you can then, obviously Nessie gets discarded, searches you out into something like Ogopogo, Thunderbird, Sukanoko, Jackalope, you name it, you have access to it. So Ogopogo, Thunderbird, Bigfoot, Sukanoko, Jackalope, Chupacabra. All pretty straightforward and simple on the lineup from them. Obviously, if you successfully resolve a Nessie and then normal summon off a Fabled Raven and then use this effect to discard a card, that gives you, makes it a level 3, which gives you instant access to a level 10 synchro. Continue on as well with the rest of these. Fabled Raven level 10 with a level 8 gives you a synchro level 10, but if you are to ditch a card off the back of that as well, it will give you access to Psychic End Punisher, which is like one of my most favourite synchro monsters, and we'll look at that when we get to the extra deck. Obviously, Chupacabra, Jackalope, and Sukanoko less relevant because we don't play the lower level Synchros, but if you wanted to, there's access to them as well. Now, one card that I really like because it does give you access to multiple different levels should you want to, is your Salamander Catalyzer. Now, the reason that I actually value this in the Synchro version a lot more than the Nessie is Catalyzer, when you use its effect, can actually become... can instigate itself to be a level 4. Off the back of that as well, Fabled Raven is a tuner. So if you already conducted a normal summon on a danger, Catalyzer is another way of getting Raven to the board. And unlike some of the previous normal summons, so something like Tour Guide and something like a Fairy Tail Luna that needed to be normal summoned, you can actually just get Fabled Raven to the board off the back of Catalyzer, and you've put a level 2 tuner on the board, good to go. So Catalyzer actually puts in a lot more work in this version, and then again the idea, like I said, is if you like, oh okay, I need a level 8, then you just go Catalyzer, reveal Grepher, summon the Grepher, discard the Catalyzer. And then that's pretty much the same for if you want a level 5, you want a level 1, anything like that, you're able to kind of pretty much adapt and push through. Zephyros Elite, just incredibly powerful card in the deck. And then triple Fenrir. So again, Fenrir actually instigates a... So Fenrir plus Fabled Raven instigates a level 10 Synchro. Because you special summon down Fenrir, search out a second copy of itself, normal summon the Fabled Raven, discard the first copy you just searched off of Fenrir, and that makes it a level 3. Sync those two together gives you a Baron de Fleur, which obviously being an Omni-Negate is a little bit stronger than a Fenrir. And that's pretty much it for the monster lineup. Again, very similar. There's only ever really minor changes to the deck. Depending on the angle of where you want to go, that will then adapt the extra deck. If you wanted to go more synchro heavy focus, you do have options of using stuff like E-Telly and the Punk Engine, but that's still to be tested. 2 Ascension alongside 2 Gates, 2 Allures, 2 Talents and 1 Archives. So again, because I've got a lot lower level 8 representation in the deck, Talents is actually a little bit more important. And just being able to either draw 2, rip from my opponent's hand, anything like that is just more utility. But again, I could pretty much just copy and paste this section of these videos and put them in because they relatively stay the same. Moving on to the extra deck, of course, we'll blitz through the cards that are always the same. So the double Grepher is pretty straightforward on that one. The Link monsters, so for this one, we've gone with Crush Heap. So Crush Heap is actually really nice because this one will allow you to boost your monsters. Now, again, as a lot of people get a little bit confused in the past, if you have Crush Heap here and I have a Synchro here, then I was to Fusion Summon here, you then actually trigger the Crush Heap effect, and the Crush Heap effect will give you whatever it points to. So because it points to a Synchro and a Fusion, it will actually give you the Revive and it will give you the buff. So if I was to do this during my turn and buff all of my monsters, and then during my opponent's turn, let's say I Fusion, this gets negated and I fuse into another copy, it will then trigger Crush Heap again to revive a monster and then give all my monsters a buff. So it would have buffed the Crush Heap, it would have buffed a second, Savage would be buffed twice, and it allows you to kind of keep pushing forward that way in a very strong way. Then for the other level 2s, again, all pretty straightforward on this one for the Link 2, sorry, Muckracker and IP Masquerena, followed by a Nightmare Unicorn. And now we are also playing the one Blackluster Soldier. Now, again, this is just an option, alternative view, whatever you have access to. So I've shown you Boral Sword as your aggressor, I've shown you Access Code as your aggressor. Heck, you could even put Avramax as your aggressor. But because we play a lot of high levels, you can very easily get into a BLS Soldier of Chaos as your boss monster as well. Followed by Saruja as your consistency card, Appaloosa as your defensive card, and then, as I previously mentioned, the board wipe combo between Zelantis and Muckracker comes out a lot of times and it's just incredibly powerful. Now, moving on to your Synchros, I've got Scarlight as your TimeCon winner. So you put so many monsters on the board, it's actually very easy to Scarlight your own board and burn your opponent, which is really funny. You just need to make sure that their attack is less than or equal to Scarlight's itself. Off the back of that as well, you do have Cyframe Lord Omega just to kind of help you with a hand loop because, you know, if you're going to be degenerate, you might as well go all out. But it can also help you recycle double banished Genters or Lore targets banishes as well. This is your flex spot, or these are your flex spots, depending on what the format shapes up to, where you can then go into something like a Crimson Blazer for the Kashtira matchups, and then of course your Berserker Tenyu again, also for Kashtira monster matchups, because both of these are very powerful level 8. So these are just your generic options of what you want to choose from. They can be level 7s, 6s, whatever you feel fancy for. And then of course for our last level 8 is the Savage Dragon. So with Savage Dragon, the idea is that there's a very easy way of actually getting Savage Dragon to have a 4 negate counters, but in this game, apart from the extended attack boost that it gets, you're probably actually better off just giving it a 2. Now, to give it a 2, obviously, it would be after you've used an IP Masquerena, after you use a Muckracker but not used its effect, and then, of course, mainly will be Cross Sheep. But the idea is, what you're going to do is you go into Saruja. Saruja Georgie 4 does whatever it needs to do. You then turn Saruja into Zelantis. Zelantis can then use his effect, clear the board, do whatever you need to. Or, even before that, you can use Saruja, special summon down a Fabled Raven that you might have drawn or already conducted your normal summon, anything like that. Then turn Saruja into Zelantis, use the effect, get into a Savage Dragon some way or another, and then Savage Dragon will then attach the Saruja, boosting it by 1400 attack, and then giving it 4 counters to be able to negate stuff. So, definitely a very cool option. It does require you to get that Link monster to the graveyard, other it is dead. But again, that's where obviously Berserker and Crimson Blader come into play as well. For the level 10, pretty straightforward on that one, Baron de Fleur. Now, if you are in a matchup where your opponent banishes a heck of a lot, this can easily be Yugioh, and kind of go from there. And then the final one is the Mac Daddy Psychic End Punisher. Really, really like this card. Really cool that I can play it again. Now, obviously, it's not as consistent playing this in this version as it was playing it with Punks, because Punks actually ate your life points to kind of make this more consistent. But it is still incredibly powerful. Obviously, if you've taken a bit of damage, if your opponent's tried to burn you, anything like that, to make a Psychic End Punisher, which is a massive, massive towers, and it's actually very easy to do. So you just turn your Fabled Raven into a level 3. So, for example, if you were able to get a Darkworld on the board, activate Fabled Raven, discard any monster like a Rainbow or a Grepher, pop a card, search card, whatever, and then get that level 8 to the board. That gives you instant access to your Psychic End Punisher. So you do need to go around a little bit to get to it, but once you do, you've got a very powerful boss monster there that your opponent will struggle to deal with, unless they have the very specific out. But obviously the idea is, by the time you're trying to make something like this, you're probably already setting up your Grepher plays, you're already setting up a BLS play, an IP play, anything like that. And that pretty much is it, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, if you do want to see more from this deck and you want to see how it operates, how the Fabled Raven adds to everything, then make sure you smash that like button, because showing appreciation to this type of video will allow me to continue to produce said type of video. And then if you do have any questions at all, then by all means, please put them in comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. However, with all of that out of the way, please, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.